Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. Our program today combines science, technology, students, and fun. The UVM Extension 4-H Embryology Program is about to get underway. For students, teachers, and parents around the state, embryology is a unique hands-on learning opportunity. Across the Fence's Keith Silva tells us more from Franklin County, where embryology is a classroom favorite.
For students at the St. Albans School, learning math and science and reading and writing is elementary, and sometimes fluffy.
Yeah. Chickens hatch in 21 days.
How do you know that?
Because I just learned it by my own brain. Chickens, when they are born, they call them chicks, and then when they first hatch, they use their egg tooth to poke it out, and it's called embryology. I thought they would be nice and like playing around when they hatch, but they're not because they're tired.
Wow, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. You probably couldn't play very much when you just hatched either, I bet. Every spring, the UVM Extension 4-H Embryology Project delivers 200 dozen fertilized eggs to teachers in Vermont. Children in preschool through high school and homeschooled students take part in this project.
So this is what, who knows the science word for what the egg is called when the baby chick is growing inside? I want to call on someone.
Haley Adams remembers the embryology project when she was a student at St. Albans City School. Now that she's a teacher, the project means even more.
It's something I remember as a 5-year-old, being in Miss Lawyer's class, you know, having that hands-on experience of the chicks when they hatched, and then growing up and realizing how much actually goes into it and how much I can pull from the program to teach my kids in other ways, the science, the math, the literacy. So as a teacher, I'm realizing all these skills that are embedded in the project, and it's really project-based learning at its best.
The 4-H embryology curriculum is open-ended, so teachers get to decide how they want to use it in their lesson plans. The only requirement is to make sure to follow the 4-H model of learning by doing, which for these teachers is the best way for students to learn.
What they've learned about comes to life for them. It's in their hands, it's real, it's not just pictures in a book, so they just get so inspired and so excited. And being able to help with the process and just hands-on is the best, I think, for the kids.
For me, just having them be able to not only touch it and feel it and be able to smell it soon as well, you know, and be able to hear it. It's the 5 senses, you know, really being involved with being able to teach.
Opening a book or doing worksheets around this wouldn't you know, be ingrained in the brain as much as the touching and the feeling and the hearing and the being responsible, and I've got to go to school tomorrow because I've got to turn those eggs. For some of these kids, it's huge. And I think it's just those lasting experiences, being able to see it firsthand, that makes it really stick.
They are nice.
The 4-H Embryology Project is adaptable to any age as well as any subject. This flexibility helps teachers meet state and federal education requirements, or what's known as the Common Core.
We're now responsible for teaching these 5- and 6-year-olds about temperature and about technology. And since the Common Core has been around, you know, as early educators, we're always, especially me as a kindergarten teacher, looking for ways to make those things alive for 5- and 6-year-olds.
Many teachers use 4-H embryology to highlight another teaching standard that emphasizes science, technology, engineering, and math, better known as STEM. Lewis is using a microscope with his kindergartners to get more up close and personal with the eggs.
I thought it'd be neat to use a microscope to try to find some pores on the eggshell and maybe describe what's inside an egg. and some children had not even cracked open an egg before. So that was a little bit unsettling, you know, and I think that it's that hands-on, you know, dive right in, get your hands dirty, and so I think bringing that into the classroom was beneficial in many ways.
Martha Manning is the UVM Extension 4-H educator who oversees the Embryology Project.
Embryology for these students is really their first connection and their first class at the University of Vermont. I think it's exciting to see the students get excited about science. We all know we need more scientists in the future, and I think it's just the hands-on approach really sparks their interest in science in maybe ways that they had never even considered as science. Even though this is rural Vermont, we have a lot of people who have never held a live chicken. They may never have seen a baby chick as it hatches. So it's important for them to see this part of the life cycle of a chicken, but it also gives them that connection to the food that they eat.
But she's a hen, which means what?
She's a mom.
From science and meeting educational standards to life skills, there's a lot the 4-H Embryology Project offers teachers and students. It's also a great way to keep a TV reporter on his toes. Do you think you'd be a good mother hen, George?
No.
Why not?
Because I am not a girl. I am a boy.
Very good, but you're going to take care of those chickens, though.
Yes. I like it when the chicks hatch and we get to play with them.
Is that the best part of this?
Well, no. Well, it's one of the best things about it. But another good thing is listening to the chicks cheep before they come out of their eggs. And waiting. It's kind of a surprise for when they come out of their eggs. So it's kind of fun to wait for the surprise.
Tell me one thing you learned about raising chickens.
That they eat corn. They eat like corn and stuff.
They eat corn and stuff inside the egg?
No, when they're hatched.
What's your favorite part of embryology?
Holding the chickens. I like the chicken because he's really cute and he's soft. He must like me.
Cute, fluffy, and definitely hands-on. There's a lot to like and learn with the 4-H Embryology Project.
Embryology, embryology.
In St. Albans, I'm Keith Silva with Across the Fence.
Thank you, Keith. Joining me here in the studio is the statewide coordinator for the Embryology Program, UVM Extension 4-H educator, Martha Manning. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you.
I love watching the kids interact with the chicks.
It is a great project, and they remember it forever.
What is it about this that gets kids so excited?
I think the thing that really gets kids excited is, you know, that they can actually see the eggs. They learn that, you know, it's not one of these instant gratification things. They take care of those eggs for 21 days. And every day they record in their little journals or they make observations. They monitor the temperature in these incubators and the humidity, and they learn the responsibility of caring for them. They also learn that, you know, it takes time.
How do you know that this program is so effective?
Well, it's interesting to talk to students who have done the program years later to see that, you know, they've retained the information. They know they'll still be able to tell you it takes 21 days to incubate an egg to go from a fertile egg to a chick. They can tell you the parts of an egg. It's just really exciting to see that they have retained the information and that they still are excited about science because of their involvement in the program.
Now, what happens to the chicks when the school year comes to an end in June?
Most of the schools keep the chicks for about a week so that they can do some observations in the classroom with them, and then either they find someone who would like to raise them or they return them to UVM Extension, and we have 2 projects that we then give the chicks to. And because they're a meat type chick, they raise them out and donate the meat to area food shelves.
And that's an important prospect for the kids to learn about too, is that, you know, these creatures serve a purpose.
Right. They learn the difference between meat chickens and laying chickens, but they also learn that, you know, it is part of the life cycle for meat chickens, and this is how they are raised, which is especially important since most of our students are 2 or more generations removed from the farm. So that means they may not even have a grandparent, aunt, or an uncle who's directly involved in agriculture. So they're getting this through school rather than where years ago people got it, you know, on their own farm or from a relative. Exactly.
Has this program grown over the years?
Yes, we've seen participation increase over the years. We now have a fair amount of homeschool participants, and we've seen the ages of students who participate in the program increase over the years.
Now, right now is the time to sign up for the embryology program. What does a school or a teacher need to do to get involved?
So they would need to contact myself at UVM Extension, and they can do that by going on the web to www.uvm.edu/extension/youth, or they can give us a call at 1-800-639-2130. And what that will do is we will either mail them all the materials, or we will send them to them electronically so that they can sign up and get enrolled. And another opportunity would be if people would like to sponsor a classroom, they could contact us and set that up as well.
Terrific. Martha, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Well, it's almost March, which means spring is inching closer. If you're looking ahead, you may be looking for garden ideas for 2018. Let's join Leonard Perry from the UVM Plant and Soil Science Department.
What I'd like to look at here is your book. I know you've had it out a little bit, but top 10 lists for beautiful shade gardens. I know a lot of people have a yard with a lot of shade. When they were built, they put in the trees too big or too small, too close, and then they grew up and now they've got shade. So how do people deal with that? What do you recommend in here?
I think most people feel that, they've been dealt a bad card if they land in the shade. There's only hosta and impatience. I wanted to show people there's so many cool plants, perennials, shrubs, climbing vines, annuals that we can use in shade. And I think the beauty of a shade garden far outweighs any sun-loving garden. And shade gardens are typically so much less work than gardening for sun gardens. So I say go plant a tree and celebrate the shade.
Well, that is an awesome approach, and it must be a lot. It says here 52 lists. You must divide that up by different types of shade. How do you divide those lists up?
I have different categories by plant material, like shrubs, climbing vines, evergreens, perennials, bulbs. But one of the categories that a lot of people are interested in is what plants do well in dry shade, because a lot of times you do have that root competition. And there are a lot of cool plants that can duke it out with the roots of trees and shrubs. One of my favorites is a perennial commonly called barrenwort, epimedium.
Yeah.
That's a great ground cover with beautiful spring flowers, lovely foliage, and even better, the foliage keeps grass and weeds from seeding in with those overlapping leaves.
And that's one that I started planting, and there's so many new ones out now that do great in shade that are hardy up here too, which I didn't realize, and that's one of my favorites. So that's a great one in here.
Now, your zone here, again, I'm from Kennebunk, Maine now.
Okay,
so, yeah.
And in Vermont, we like a lot of places, straddle line usually hardiness zones, which a lot of people probably know USDA has a map, and you can check on that map online or with garden centers, what their zone is. But it's basically about 5, which is warmer, to 3, which is cold. So in our Northeast Kingdom or in the mountains, that kind of thing. So, and I guess your book is adapted to the colder climates, like ours.
Really, I specialize, because I lived in upstate New York for many years and now Maine. Most of the plants in this book are for zones 3 through 5, because that's what I've been gardening in for 30 years.
Really the colder ones around here would be great for Vermont and this whole region, of the country. Another thing I really like about this, your list, you have top 10. So I know a lot of times these lists go on and on. You have no clue, but you've really narrowed it down to top plants in each of these categories.
Cut to the chase. We don't have a lot of time. We want good information, easy to understand, and available to buy at our independent garden centers. And that's what I try to give people, a reliable list of plants we can buy at garden centers.
Well, that's good too, because a lot of times you see these and you go there and they have no clue, or you can't get them. So
I don't remember the last time I ordered mail order. I really believe in buying local and independent garden
we've got
centers.
a lot of great ones around here to buy from, so hopefully people can get good ideas. And thank you so much for writing this and sharing it with us today.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching today on Across the Fence. For University of Vermont Extension, I'm Leonard Perry.
Well, our thanks to Leonard and Carrie Ann Mendez, and thank you for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. I'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.